Hey everybody, it's Robert with the Not Move podcast. I got with me a very special guest, a former NFL player, a former Redskin, Mike Bass. Man, tell me about yourself.
Well, Rob, I'm at 81. I'm glad to be above the dirt. I'm enjoying myself. I do a lot. I play a lot of golf, and I do some exercising. I try not to throw things at the TV at times when watching some of the sports and things are not going the way I would like them to go. And of course, we all have our own opinions with regards to what is happening politically. And after going through a lot of things growing up, I keep hoping for change. But all we can do is maybe convince those people who are being silent to begin to speak out.
For
And
sure.
but that's all a part of living. And we now are turning things over to the younger people. And I think that they are recognizing that things could be a lot better than they are now.
Yes, sir, for sure. It's definitely, hopefully, I can't say it's definitely going to get better because, man, nobody can promise that with the
No,
way the world is, but I hope
no.
it gets better. I really
Mhm.
do hope it gets better. But going into football, man, Um, did you see yourself going all the way to the NFL?
Oh, no, I came out of high school in 1963, and as a running back, I was
Okay.
I guess a big fish in a small pond. I went all over the country looking at schools and ended up going to school 7 miles away. I'm from a little town in Michigan called Ypsilanti. It's no longer that little. And Ann Arbor was just 7 miles away at the time, and ended up going to Michigan. And
Okay.
I was there for 4 years. My degree is in psychology, and I enjoyed every minute of it, although it, again, was somewhat different. Our rivalries were different, but uh, the mainstays were still Ohio State and Michigan State. I was very lucky to have played with some great football players at Michigan, including John Rouser, who was a defensive back, Rick Volk, who was a defensive back who played in the league for 10 years as well. And Don James was our defensive backfield coach. So I had a lot of good experiences, great coaching, and I was fortunate enough to be drafted by the Green Bay Packers. And I was excited and surprised, really, because I never thought about playing professional football. I came from a great family. My father was a doctor, my mother was a teacher, and I had visions of maybe going to med school, but then decided if this opportunity came about, I was going to grab it. And fortunately, Coach Lombardi gave me that opportunity. Unfortunately, though, he cut me at the last cut of the 1967, at the beginning of the 1967 season. And I was picked up by the Detroit Lions. And I labored there with the Lions for 2 years. And I must have made an impression because when Coach Lombardi came out of retirement, he asked me to come to Washington, and I jumped at the chance. So that was quite an experience for me, being remembered by Coach Lombardi.
So what was it like being coached by Coach Lombardi?
Well, I have to go back and say that I'm among the very few people who were coached by both Vince Lombardi and George Allen.
Oh,
Uh, they were different types of coaches. Coach Lombardi was a fiery figure who demanded respect and commanded respect when he walked into a room, and it was his way or the highway. And I guess that's the way football was looked at during that period of time. And he uh, made football somewhat simple. He believed in 6 plays to the right, 6 plays to the left, and you ran those plays to perfection against all of your the defenses that you faced. I was on the defensive side of the ball, and because of that, it was a matter of we'll score more points than the other team, and we'll win. But then Coach Lombardi passed away after 1 year in Washington, and George Allen came in, and he changed the entire philosophy. It went from offense and putting butts in the seats to defense, which was defenses that were really designed to score. And it was George Allen's philosophy that it was defense that won championships. So offense puts butts in the seats, defense wins championships. And it was during that period of time with George Allen that I gained some notoriety and really learned how to be a real pro. And the difference between Coach Lombardi and George Allen, the differences really were in the fact that George Allen always believed in veteran players, and so he allowed us to have a lot more input into what we were doing. He set us in the right direction, and then because we were all experienced players, we made his defenses work, and we certainly understood why no rookies really could make George Allen's football teams. The defenses were that intricate.
Yes, sir. So this is actually a question from the podcast, from somebody in the podcast. His name's Gremlin. He wants to know, what coach in the NFL do you give credit to for helping develop your game?
I have to say that it was George Allen. George Allen, I learned, quite frankly, how to really look at my keys, and I learned to improve my skills, my development skills, and I played with some great football players. I played with Kenny Houston,
Okay.
who was in our defensive backfield, Brig Owens, Pat Fisher. We were all in the same defensive backfield, and on my side, Chris Hamburger was the linebacker on my side. And from an offensive point of view, I could appreciate the skills of Sonny Jurgensen, Billy Kilmer, Larry Brown, Jerry Smith. Those were great football players as well. And we were all in our late 20s, early 30s, and we could rely on each other. Having played together for a number of years, we knew each other's voices. We knew where everybody was supposed to be. And I took pride in knowing not only what my responsibility was, but also in knowing where my help was coming from and the responsibilities of those fellows that were on my side who I could rely on. So I have to say that George Allen really taught me the meaning of being a pro and the responsibilities that went along with that.
Now, you ended up playing the 1972 Miami Dolphins when they were 17-0 in the Super Bowl, and you ended up getting a touchdown, a fumble recovery touchdown. Walk me through that. What was that like when you got that touchdown in the biggest stage?
Well, you have to again go back to George Allen, who left no stone unturned. In other words, he felt that special teams were just as important as offense and defense, and special teams could win us 1 or 2 games a year. And quite frankly, it did. And some of us starters did play on those special teams. And by the way, our special teams coach was Marv Levy, who went on to have success with the Buffalo Bills. And I was on the field goal block and also on the extra block teams who that consisted of the same players. And my responsibility was one of being what you call the spy man, because you couldn't have both of us, the right side and the left side, running in to try to block a kick. We'd end up running into each other. So the left side was that side that made or tried to make the blocks on both extra points and field goals. And in this particular instance, the fellows on the left side, Teddy Vactor and Bill Brundage, were responsible for rushing and trying to block that kick. And in this particular instance, one of them made the block. Both of them claimed to have made the block, but one of them made the block. And with me, I was listening for the first thud. And if there was a second thud, then I got a whole lot of tension came to mind. And when I heard that second one, I was looking for where the ball was because I knew that it had been blocked. And there, Garo Yepremian had grabbed the ball and thought at that point that he was going to be a passer. And the ball slipped out of his hands. And I was able to catch it and outmaneuver Garo and Earl Morrill at the time, who was a holder, and score that touchdown in the Super Bowl. It was our only score. And that play still remains one of the fluke plays or not, one of the most remembered plays in the Super Bowl. I have to add to this. Gary Yepremian and I were with Detroit at the same time. And both of us were on Detroit's reserve squad. We weren't good enough to make the regular roster with the Lions, although they'd had 40 years of losing. We weren't good enough, and so we left the Lions the same year. And I went to Washington with Coach Lombardi, and Darryl went to Miami. And we have remained friends for all those many years, and it's just ironic that we are remembered as the two parties in that whole scenario of the blocked field goal in the Super Bowl VII in Miami against the Dolphins. And unfortunately for us, we lost, and they went 16-0 that year. So that's a well-remembered play, and I'm really proud to have been a part of it. But who remembers whoever becomes second place in the Super Bowl?
Hey, listen, man, when you make a big play, no matter what stages it is on the NFL, man, that's huge. And just watching it, man, going back, I mean, I wasn't old enough to actually watch it, but watching it on tape, watching the tape of it, it was something special, man.
It's a credit to George Allen and his preparation and in all three aspects of the game. And we were well known for our special teams. Another player who was with Detroit and came to Washington was Bill Malinchak, and he blocked a number of punts during his period in Washington as well. So there are three aspects to the game, and you never know which one of those were actually going to make the plays to win the game. And so George Allen paid attention to all three of those aspects of the game.
Yes, sir. So when you first came into the NFL, going from college to the NFL, what was the biggest difference that you noticed?
The biggest difference I noticed was the speed of all the players. You're going up to the highest level, and the quality of the athletes were just absolutely tremendous athletes. And even when I first went in, I just didn't know I just didn't know what the hell was going on. All I was trying to do was make a team. And these guys, even the slowest receivers, were so fantastic. I mean, just unbelievable players, particularly At that time, I played against Bob Hayes. I played against some real great ones, Paul Warfield, and they were just absolutely great. And so it took. I struggled for 3 or 4 years, but then after going with the Redskins and George, the game slowed down, and I became one of those fellas that I really idolized in my early years. Got to the point where there were some players who were idolizing me, and I never realized it. I played that right corner, and I could play it in my sleep, and I prided myself on not making mental mistakes, aside from, of course, knowing where my help was coming from and knowing that you're not going to intercept every pass. And generally, interceptions come from a combination of things: the defensive line who's rushing the passer, the quarterback making a mistake, even the receiver making a mistake. And so that's when you really get interceptions. At least that was my particular case. I was never a Deion Sanders with great speed or quickness, but I played the defense the way it was called, and I had great help and again, like I said, played with great players.
And you clearly did great, man. Because speaking of interceptions, quote me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure you had 30 interceptions in your career.
Yes, that's right. 30 interceptions. I didn't realize that until I looked at the stats after I'd retired, because I never paid that much attention to those stats. And I just wanted to do my job, uh, get the respect of my teammates, and get the respect of the players I played against during that 10 years nearly 10 years that I was in the league.
So, out of all the 30 interceptions that you had, which one would you say is the most memorable one?
Well, the ones that I think helped turn games around. I had a
Okay.
couple of touchdowns in which a couple of interceptions, actually three, I think, in which I scored touchdowns on. One against the Giants, one against the Eagles, and one against the Cardinals. Those are
Okay.
the three that stand out. But I think I'm most proud of the fact that in that uh, nearly 10 years in the league, I gave up uh, maybe 8 or 9 touchdowns, and I'm most proud of that
Oh,
too. I
that's
just
great.
wanted my teammates to respect the fact that I was out there and they could count on me.
Yes, sir. Hey, and clearly they could. 8 touchdowns in 10 years.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's really
I
good.
got lucky. I had, like I said, I played with great fellas, and nobody does it by themselves.
That's true. It's a team. It's a team sport, team effort. There's no I in team. Um,
That's
Now when it comes to, because you are ranked in the top 70 Redskins of all time. Where how does like how does that make you feel?
it humbles me, quite frankly. Two awards. I got several awards. I made All Pro a couple of times. Never went to a Pro Bowl though. Uh, I guess uh, you have to be somewhat flashy to get the writers to think about you. But uh, I I made that 70 greatest group, and also the Redskins or Commanders inducted me into their Ring of Fame, which
Oh,
was really quite an honor, quite an honor. Even though it occurred years after I had stopped playing, but I my name is up there on the stadium right next to George Allen's, and so when I go back to Washington and I'm able to attend a game, I can feel very good about the honor that was bestowed on me by the team.
Yes, sir. Hey, that's amazing.
Mm.
Um, when it came down to it, when it was time to hang up the cleats, were you ready?
Well, I believe, well, actually, I think yes. You have to remember, my father was a doctor, and he looked at things a little differently. And football, professional football, is filled with what did you do for me lately? And I remember getting run over by a running back by the name of Joe Dawkins, who played for the Giants. And I had a neck injury. I uh, finished the game without missing any games. And I came back the next year, though, and I wasn't quite healed from that neck injury. And over that period of time that I had played 104 straight consecutive games. But I came back to training camp and I just wasn't right. And I could feel it. If you've been a professional athlete in particular, you know when your body's not right. And when you have a neck injury, it's nothing to fool around with. Uh, the freakish thing, so many freakish things could happen. And I said, I was bucking the odds. I was going into my 10th year, and I was bucking the odds. I had never missed a game, and but I said to myself, "Don't be stupid, Mike. Um, walk away while you can walk away." And so I made the decision that I'd played enough, and I'd had some success. But I would have 40 or 50 or 60 years more uh, to go through, and I didn't want to end up in a wheelchair or something of that sort. So I hung it up. I do
And
have.
I got to,
Go ahead.
my bad. Go ahead.
There is one thing though that does disturb me.
Okay.
Not necessarily from an individual point of view, but during my time, we players went on strike 3 times in order to get these players who are playing today the things that they're getting in terms of benefits. Uh, Unfortunately, I guess the owners decided that they were going to get back at us. So we were cut out, us pre 1993 players were cut out of many of those benefits that these current players are getting today. And for example, my first salary was $12,000. My pension is only about $2,000 a month or so, and I wish that the current players would could appreciate what we did in order for them to get the financial windfall or benefits that they're getting today. But again, the owners got back at us, and even after we stopped playing, the Players Association forgot about us older players who actually made the game, and so they represent the word was that they represent the current players, but they don't represent the former or the retired players, which I think is a travesty
That
with the
doesn't make any
millions
sense.
and millions of dollars that these kids are getting now. We'd appreciate it if they just throw 1% of what they're getting at us. So, and as our numbers dwindle, there are not, we're losing a lot of those pre 1993 players. Uh, uh, we're just dying off. So there wouldn't be that much that would be going to us, and eventually they wouldn't have to make any contributions whatsoever. So I wish someone would take up the mantle and think about what contributions we made to the game overall, because we made these owners rich as well. But
That's
that's just the way things are, I guess.
it shouldn't be like that though. Y'all should have got paid just like they did. That's not right. I don't know why the
Well,
NFL does that. It's not right.
the the baseball players association, the basketball players association, the hockey players association, they kind of laugh at us because our sport is the most dangerous of all of them, and yet we get the least in terms of gratitude, respect, monetary values, and so forth after we retire. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Greed plays a very, very important part of it, and that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
And see, that's why the younger players, like you said, need to be more humble and gratitude for what y'all have done. Because if it weren't for y'all, they wouldn't be making what they're making now. They wouldn't. We wouldn't see Miles Garrett with 40 million a year. We wouldn't see JSN making 120 million in 4 years.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. So I hope that the Players Association uh, take another look at us as
For sure.
retired players, and that contribution to the 1993 or the pre 1993 players would be minuscule, quite frankly, and it would be less and less because we're dying off.
For sure. They definitely need to. I mean, y'all,
Mhm.
it's not right what they done to y'all. They need to make it
Mhm.
right. They need to just make it right at this point.
Well, we need a champion. We need a champion among the sports writers. We need a champion among the TV personalities to take a look and maybe think that this story is a story worth telling.
Dude, this right here, I'm gonna find a way to get this. I'm gonna get this popular, and I'm gonna get this out there to everybody. This needs to be heard. This right here, like it's. I didn't even know it was this bad. I didn't know y'all were only getting that 12. You said 12,000.
Well, 12,000 was my first salary in 1967, but my current pension is somewhere around 2,200, 2,500 bucks a month, which is uh,
That
baseball players who play 10 years are getting $100,000 a
yeah,
year.
and you put your body on the line every week just for fans and for owners to get their money and everything, and then they don't want to give you your money. That doesn't make sense. It
And
doesn't make sense. I don't like that.
well, our sport is the most popular sport in really in the world. So sooner or later, somebody will stand up and take notice and uh, take up the calling.
No, for sure. We're gonna as soon as we get done with this interview, I'm actually gonna go because we got a group. We're gonna go on TikTok live and talk about this, man. Try to get it out to as many people as we can. Maybe we can get the word spreaded. I know we're not that big of a platform, but what we can do is try to get the word spreaded to someone bigger and someone that's in the NFL. Just try to do our part because
Well,
y'all did y'all part.
if you talk to any retired player, particularly those of us who played before 1993, you'll get the same story. So we'll see. We'll see.
For sure, and it's not right. And the NFL needs to find a way to fix it. You done the current players, yes. You help the current players. Now go help the retired players that put in this work for you, that put their body on the lines. And I can say this with confidence: y'all had it a lot harder back then as well, because there wasn't as many rules as there is now to protect a player.
That's right. And the equipment wasn't as great as it is now. I'm fortunate in that I'm working with a new football helmet company that has done some great things. In addition to that, I'm also working with a company that has developed a revolutionary knee brace that
Okay.
helps in rehabilitation. So anybody who might be interested, they can drop me a line at Mike at MikeBassNFL.com. That's Mike at MikeBassNFL.com.
Y'all go check it out, man. Y'all need a knee brace. Y'all need a helmet for your kids or something. Check them out.
Yep. Just send me an email. Definitely.
For sure. Check them out. Now I got two more questions for you. One question I have for you, you kind of already answered it in a way, but if the NFL, right, if the NFL found a way to get back with y'all and got y'all players the benefits y'all need, what would that look like? What would you want from the NFL?
Oh, just really the acknowledgement, quite frankly, of our contribution to the game, the acknowledgement of the fact that our contribution made the owners rich and made the players rich. There would not be these $4 or $5 billion value teams. If you take a look at what the original cost to purchase the Cowboys was back when Jerry Jones got the team, and other things like that. All we want, really, and all anybody wants is that appreciation and knowing what we've been going through. The Players Association and the league has done some things, but there's a lot more that could be done. Your sound is off. Your audio is off. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. My dog started barking. I didn't want to get that in the background.
It's okay.
So my final question for you would be, when it comes to this year coming up, now you played you played for the Washington Redskins, now known as the Commanders. You know the division. You know the division very well. You got the Commanders, you got the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Giants. Who do you think? Early prediction. Who do you think is going to win the division?
In all honesty, I pull for the Redskins or the Commanders. I am hoping that they don't depend on this young quarterback, Daniels, to do the running that he has tried to do or that he did in college. He won't last very long. I think really that the Eagles are the team to beat.
Yes, sir.
Dallas, they are. Everybody comes out and says Dallas, but no.
No.
Dallas needs to get rid of all those non-football players who are in the front office and let football people run that team. I think that the coach with Washington is exceptional. He's respected by his players. He's knowledgeable. They need to fill a couple of holes. So as much as I want them to be on top, I think Philly still is the team to beat.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I got for you today. Real quick, could you let the people know one more time about the knee brace and the helmet?
All they have to do is send me a message that they're interested in getting more information to Mike at MikeBassNFL.com. And I promise to respond if they send me something that says they're interested, and give me a telephone number, and I'll get back to them. Not a problem. Not a problem.
All right, y'all. This is Robert with the Not Move podcast, and was an exclusive interview with Mike Bass. Mike Bass, thank you for coming out, man. This has been great, and hopefully the NFL can get that fixed, man, because it's wrong what they've done to y'all, and it's time we speak up as people and let them know that they've done wrong. As fans, it's y'all put y'all body on the line for us and gave us a game to watch. It's our turn to do something in return. It's our turn to speak up against the NFL.
Well, Rob, I thank you for giving me this this platform, and I thank you for your support, and I wish you the very best, young man.
Yes, sir. I wish you the best too. Have a blessed.
Okay, bye now.
You too.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.